Last left Brussels, Romania's Daniela Silovash had the slightest of leads over Svetlana Boginskaya of the Soviet Union in the all-around competition. Let's now rejoin Mike Adamley, Kathy Wrigley-McCoy for the conclusion of the European Women's Gymnastics Championships.
Competition underway here at the European Women's Gymnastics Championships. This is the third rotation, and you're looking at Olga Strashiva, the Soviet Union. She has just waved to the judges. She is ready to go here at the uneven parallel bars.
And she mounts as if she shot out of a cannon. We've talked about her incredible power. On this particular event, she shows great strength. Look at the release moves. There's another one, a Ginger, right over the low bar. Great flair. And you'll see once again coming up, another release move, a reverse heck way above that top bar. You don't get much better than this. And her double flyaway, great exercise.
As you mentioned earlier, the thing that sets Olga apart, Kathy, her great power.
Now, these moves are difficult to just execute, but to add that maximum openness and swing is really to be rewarded. Watch this. She does a clear hip. Not only does she shoot to the top bar, but she adds a little extra arm movement there, flair.
And listen to the crowd. A perfect 10 for Olga Strashiva, the first one given out here in these championships for women in Brussels. Broadcasters from all over Europe are in attendance. Their eyes will next be riveted on the leader after two rotations, Romania's Daniela Silovash, perhaps the finest all-around female gymnast in the world. Just one short summer and a hairstyle ago, Silovash captured 3 individual gold medals in the Olympic Games in Seoul, Korea. In 1987 at the European Championships, she also won 3 individual titles. And with so many honors already in her possession, Kathy asked Daniela what accomplishment she's most proud of.
Mă bucur de toate succesele mele și a întregii echipei.
I am glad of my own and my team's successes, but more than anything else, I am pleased with winning 3 Olympic gold medals. And to me, 1987 was as gratifying as the year of the Olympics.
Again, we're in the third rotation. Daniela competing in the balance beam.
Besides being so physically talented, those medals come from consistency during competition and nerves of steel in a pressuring situation like she is right now. This is a great event for Danielle. She doesn't tend to be loose in the ankles or upper body. Getting ready for her tumbling series, one of the requirements. Back handspring, 2 layouts, and she just nails that landing. She plants herself securely. Here's her dance elements. Something that is being stressed a great deal on the floor exercise and balance beam, much more so than in the past. Slight break there, just off to the side a little bit. This routine must last 1:10 to 1:30. There's her acrobatic gymnastic combination, gymnastic meaning dance elements. Her full turn requirement. We are getting down to the wire, however, and those little bobbles really may determine who wins the all-around here. And getting ready for her dismount now. Double back, very good landing, just a couple of bobbles in that routine. And Mike, as you mentioned in the past, the secret of a great gymnast is to make every move look effortless. That's not to take anything away from the fact that these moves require precision, timing, and strength, and that margin for error is just so slight.
Daniela's score 9.925, and that's good enough to move her into first place after 3 rotations. As we mentioned, these championships are located on a very famous site. In 1958, the World's Fair was held here. The focal point was a giant aluminum structure known as the atomium, a reproduction of the molecule filled with exhibits that still stands today. Now, something far less conspicuous but equally gigantic in mass can be found behind the doors of Côte d'Or. It's specialty chocolate, and lots of it. This factory produces 180 tons of the sweet stuff daily. That's the equivalent weight of a 767 jumbo jet loaded to capacity. Now, it takes 2 days to make the finished product from raw material. And after 20 hours of arduous mixing, the chocolate finally hits the assembly line. The byproduct of 20 tons of hazelnuts, 40 tons of cocoa beans, 70 tons of sugar, 20 tons of milk, 30 tons of butter, and get this, no preservatives. And the finished product. Now, Kathy, I don't know too much about gymnastics, but let me tell you something about this chocolate. It rates a perfect 10.
Do you know anything about manners? Do you have any more?
Oh, I'm sorry. What would my mother say about me? Here's a fresh one. This stuff is good, though. Well, I don't know if Svetlana Boginskaya has a sweet tooth, but she can't afford one right now. She's next up on the balance beam.
Norman, what's that?
Nothing, honey.
I asked a simple question.
Norman, are you eating something?
It's nothing, honey.
He lies like a dog.
Kellogg's Nut and Honey Crunch. Crisp golden flakes glazed with sweet honey and real roasted peanuts.
Irene, what's that you're playing?
Nothing, honey.
Two can play this little game.
Kellogg's Nut and Honey Crunch.
Fancy perfuming aftershave. It's got to be a quarterback's locker. Real guys who get money.
Warming up for her routine in the balance beam, the Soviet Union's Svetlana Boginskaya. This again in the third rotation. But let's go back and look at the battle for fourth place.
Well, Romania's Gabriel Podorac scored the highest mark of the day on the vault with a 9.987, which again establishes the strength and depth of the Romanian team, a force to be reckoned with at the upcoming World Championships. Now, just behind Podorac, Henrietta Onati charmed the audience with her floor exercise. The judges weren't as enthusiastic, giving her her lowest mark of the day with a 9.837.
And so it is Boginskaya along with Romania's Daniela Silovas and Olga Strashiva of the Soviet Union who are waging the battle for first place. This is Svetlana Boginskaya.
And she throws caution to the wind with that front flip mount. Lots of risk there. And with all the butterflies she must be feeling after watching Silovas, she's nailing this balance beam routine so far. The dance combination here. Great lines. Really focusing on the end of that beam without breaking lines. Here showing a level change, another new requirement on the balance beam.
Something very classical about her performance.
And those long lines, those long legs and arms are really shown off here. Another requirement there, the full turn. And she's handling the pressure so well. Years of experience paying off. So far, no faults at all. You can see the concentration. Little preparation now as she tries to get all the way to the end of the beam to get enough momentum and space to execute this dismount. And you don't get much better than that.
Svetlana needed a score of better than 9.975 to overtake Daniela Silovas. And watch this mount again.
It takes a tremendous amount of upper body lift to get up and over on that beam, all the while trying to stay straight on that narrow apparatus.
And the mark for Boginskaya, 9.975, and that puts her in a tie with Daniela Silovas of Romania. So after 3 rotations, the standings look like this, and let's remember that Olga Strashiva of the Soviet Union very much in the title hunt. Now the 4th rotation. This is Strashiva on the balance beam.
Truly one of the most innovative gymnasts in the competition. Slight break there, but she covered up well. She has lots of difficulty and beautiful dance. And watch this move. One-arm handstand. Not quite held long enough. And she does a pirouette under herself right to her back. And that shows the level change.
And Kathy, she appears to be a fearless gymnast. She's not afraid to try a new wrinkle or add a new wrinkle to her routine if she needs to.
Well, in this day and age, you really can't be afraid to do that. Although on that particular leap, she's a little too cautious, holding back somewhat. And you see what it does? It gets your balance off just slightly. There it is again. You really have to go for every move.
And again, this was the event in the '88 Olympic Games where she injured her knee.
And that could be in the back of her mind. You know, with the difficulty level where it is, there's a lot more danger involved in all these moves. And in competition, when the adrenaline is running as it is, you just become that much stronger. And sometimes that throws the timing off. But let's see how she executes the dismount. Big step, over-rotated there, just slightly. Now, to get full credit for this one-arm handstand, she should have held it for at least 2 seconds. Nonetheless, the second part is so impressive. She has to maintain her balance, but her hips, her shoulders, all of that has to stay directly over the balance beam.
Olga's score 9.80, so after all 4 rotations, 39.612, the mark that Silovas and Boginskaya will have to beat.
I got dirty an awful lot when I was little. What am I doing here? You know this.
You're playing baseball.
Yeah, that's right. It came natural to get dirty. Johnson's baby shampoo has been great for my hair all through my life. It's strong. It makes my hair look clean. It makes my hair feel clean, and it's gentle. Look at this kid's hair. I think it looks good.
Johnson's baby shampoo, now also with conditioners for extra control.
I shower 4 or 5 times a day. It's never made me cry.
Johnson's, for the life of your hair.
Electricity? Hey, no problem. Want to know any more? Ask Ace. That's what I do.
The Intermatic programmable timer is just $3.97, and its lightweight angle broom is a best buy, just $147.
Hey, Ace is the place for me.
There's nothing like the sights and sounds of summer. Look for the Michelob Light and Michelob Dry Beach display at a store near you.
Remember, Daniela and Boginskaya were tied after 3 rotations, and Svetlana Boginskaya is still to perform in the floor exercise as well.
And you can see with her style why she is such a crowd pleaser.
Defending Olympic champion in this event.
And it takes tremendous endurance for this last tumbling run. A double tuck. What a relief and what a great routine.
Daniela needed a 9.75 to move ahead of Olga Strasheva. I think she certainly got that because that was absolutely brilliant.
And she started off her exercise with this great combination tumbling run, and it really set the tone and the momentum for the entire exercise.
Daniela's score 9.987. She is thrilled, and now the picture is crystal clear for Svetlana Boginskaya of the Soviet Union. She needs to be flawless if she is to win the all-around title.
And this is truly an innovative routine, a somewhat risky style, very avant-garde, much different choreography than we've seen from the other competitors in the past. Tumbling run. It will be a full in, double back, and she lands it. You have to be very sound in your dance technique to pull this off. Extension, body lines, fluidity, timing with the music have to be placed perfectly. Otherwise, it looks like a mishmash of strange movement. And who better to do that than Boginskaya?
Boginskaya means goddess in Russian, and indeed there is something very majestic about the way she carries herself.
She through the air on that second tumbling run. So far, no mistakes. Down to this last tumbling run. Full in, double back, a more difficult ending than Silivas. And this really is the most innovative routine I have seen in many years. Not only that, it was performed extremely well.
A good applause from the crowd, but not the same enthusiastic reaction that Daniela Silivas got. So perhaps they're a little bit confused, having not seen this style of innovation before.
Well, it's going to be a tough decision. With two such divergent styles, it takes experienced international judges like we have here to treat both exercises fairly.
Waiting for the score, and there it is. A perfect 10 for Svetlana Boginskaya, and she has never received a 10 before in competition in the floor exercise.
Well deserved.
What a milestone. Svetlana Boginskaya, the new all-around champion, but only by the barest of margins. Daniela Silivas of Romania had a day to remember as well. These European championships always seem to produce new and exciting faces, as well as gymnasts who could blossom into megastars. And what happened today in Brussels was no exception.
Well, all right, what we did is we went up there and we just kind of looked in the window, and the captain asked us to come in. I couldn't believe it. You know, he got to see the workings of the ship. He got to see the guys right up there, the captain.